All right, the next one I'm going to talk about, and I really debated on this one. Talking about it, it just makes my skin crawl. Hey everyone, what is going on? Welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast. And it is Friday, so you guys know what that means. It's time for another Etsy seller news episode where I bring you guys some news, some things that are going out there, going on in the world that may be pertinent to your lives and your business, just so that you can stay abreast of what's going on. I do the digging and the hunting so I can bring it to you guys so you have enough stuff to do, right? You don't want to be digging all this stuff up and figuring out what it means. So that is why I'm here to help serve you with this information. I'm your host LL, and I'll be taking you through this edition of Seller News today. I got some good stuff for you. I'm going to ruffle the feathers a little bit probably today with this episode, but I'm going to bring it to you nonetheless. The first topic of the day is Poshmark. Is Poshmark gunning for Etsy and really other platforms? They are really starting to ramp things up over there with what they're doing. I've sold on Poshmark before. I don't really have a lot going on there now, but they have really opened the doors and are trying to open up even more doors to be more to get themselves in the game with the top e-commerce platforms out there. And what they're doing recently is just adding more validity to that. So they were working on being bought out by a Korean company, Navar, which is I think it's a technology company more or less, but that has finally went through. They have went through with that purchase, so they're good to go now when it comes to being owned and all the resources that they possess. With that company, they're going to put those into Poshmark to further grow it. So Poshmark over the last couple of years has broadened their horizons from not just clothing. They hit the handmade market. You can sell handmade goods. You can now sell electronics. You can sell dog stuff. You can sell animal stuff. You can sell beauty stuff. So they're really opening the doors to become a very diverse marketplace. So this company, with their main goal of being purchased by this company, is to increase purchase rates, deepen engagement. So they want to have more of a social component to a basically social selling component to their business model, and they want to become a leader in live streaming commerce, and that is really intriguing for me. I'm sure it's intriguing to a lot of other people because live streaming commerce or e-commerce is becoming really, really big. It's becoming really, really, really popular. And Whatnot has really kind of changed the game with that, with being able to do live auctions. So Whatnot was kind of doing that to compete with eBay and bring something new. Now Poshmark is bringing that to really compete with Whatnot. So it's going to be really interesting to see. And then all these platforms are really thinking about how they can integrate live commerce into their platforms. In some ways it makes more sense. In others, it's going to be a little bit harder of a lift. But honestly, I think that I'm not sure. I haven't heard any rumors when it comes to Etsy specifically. But I think Etsy can really rather easily integrate live commerce into their platform. They have already kind of set the tone with the recent things that they've done with the new Etsy sales app. They have the Explore feature as part of that app, and the Explore feature is basically just like TikTok or Reels, Instagram Reels, but it's for goods. It's people are showing them making goods, and then you can click on the Explore video, and it'll go right to that. It'll go right to the product page, and you can purchase from there. So it's really not a big stretch to make that recorded video now a live video, and just to be able to pop into your Explore app and be able to just sell things live on the platform and link it to your shop. So I think it's a pretty easy lift. Obviously, I'm not doing the back end tech work, so I don't know. I don't know if it's anything that they even want to do, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it is something that they're working on, just to make, just to add to their repertoire of the things that they're doing, following suit. They've basically copied TikTok, Reels. They've copied up other platforms with introducing video into their listings. So this is something that I'm sure they're investigating. I'm sure it's something that they're probably thinking about doing. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do over the next year or two, especially if Poshmark starts really pushing this and they become even more successful and an even bigger player in the e-commerce world. It's going to force these other platforms, Amazon, eBay, Etsy, to look at this way of selling because it's become really, really popular. And I don't think it's going anywhere. So it's going to be really interesting to see. So I don't know. We're going to see what happens. I don't know if they're going to overtake Etsy. Etsy is still a huge player, but Poshmark is up there. They've got a lot of buyers now, and they're going to get even more. So it'll be interesting to see. All right, the next one I'm going to talk about, and I really debated on this one. Talking about it, it just makes my skin crawl. And just knowing that I'm going to probably open Pandora's box with this one, but I'm going to mention it just because it is intriguing. So there's a bill passed in Congress, the House of Representatives. They passed a bill basically stating they want to abolish the IRS, abolish income tax, and then make just one consumption tax, and then basically what's going to happen with that is you're not going to file an income, you're not going to have to do income taxes anymore. It's basically, from my understanding, what would then happen, it's going to fall on the states. There's going to be a national tax, a national sales tax, and that's going to fall on the states to basically just impose that tax on goods sold. Sounds all well and good, but that tax is going to be probably 30% or more from what I'm reading if this were to happen. Mind you, there's a very, very slim chance this is going to happen because it would have to pass through the Senate. This is something I guess that's been around for a while. I was reading the Scientology, the School of Scientology or whatever, wanted to push this forward. I guess they had people that were trying to push this forward as far as doing a kind of a national sales tax, national consumption tax, and not having IRS or income tax. I don't know. I'm not going to read any more into it. I 100% don't want to get into the politics of it because that is just going to do no one no good. I'm sure there's going to be people commenting on this video if you're watching on YouTube. Please don't. Please don't. It's not gonna matter. I just thought it was interesting. I'm sure it's not going to pass. But there's three things I want you guys to remember when stuff like this arises, especially as divisive as things are now. Number one, there's good and bad to everything, especially when it comes to new policies and new laws and rules and stuff like that. We deal with it on Etsy or any e-commerce platform. There's good and bad to everything. Every change has good and bad to it. There's always a compromise is number two. And number three is there's always a solution. There's always a solution. That's what I want you to remember, especially the compromise part. If we all listen to each other and compromise a little bit more, it's be a lot better place. But that is it. That's all I'm going to say about that. I'm going to get off my soapbox, but I felt like I had to mention this just because it was pretty kind of interesting, pretty crazy thing to kind of think about. No IRS. Very, very small chance that it would happen, but I just wanted to bring it to your attention. All right, so on to the next controversial topic. Since this is turning into a controversial episode, the Informed Consumers Act. I believe it is passed. I don't know why I said that. It is 100% been passed. So basically what this is and how it impacts you guys is it's basically an act to protect consumers from theft, from people selling stolen goods, people selling counterfeit goods, illegal goods out there on the marketplaces. So if you're a third-party seller, which if you're selling on Etsy, you're selling on eBay, you're a third-party seller. It really is out there to try and protect those buyers from preventing sellers from doing those things, illegitimate sellers, all that stuff. So it seems good on the surface. However, it is kind of problematic as a seller, because they are requiring everyone to provide certain details to verify their identity. And there's been talks of crazy things like you have to provide like a phone number, you have to provide a name on listings and things like that. I don't think it's going to go that crazy. But basically, and there more to this is going to come because it was passed. They don't have to, marketplaces don't have to enact this until June 27th of this year. So I think they're still scrambling to figure out exactly what the law is requiring them to do. But basically, to explain this simply, it's requiring these third party sellers, or I'm sorry, these marketplaces to collect from third party sellers their ID and verify information such as banking information, their identity, different things like that, if they reach a certain tier of selling, which is 200 transactions or $5,000 in a rolling 12-month period. Then the marketplace has to collect this information from that seller and provide it, I believe, to the government, to this entity. I don't know if there's like going to be a separate entity where they have to imply this or give this information to. So that is kind of the gist of it. And if the seller does, so say I'm a new seller and I hit $5,000 in revenue, boom, I qualify. I have to give this information, whatever the information is, up to Etsy or to eBay, and then they have to provide it to the informed consumers people. If I don't within 10 days, then they have to suspend my account. So I could see where this could open up an entire can of worms. They're going to verify my information. If something goes wrong on their end, do they kick it back? What happens if Etsy verifies my information, then they kick it to the government, and then they kick it back to Etsy? It creates I don't even want to think about it, and I'm not sure what information they have to make available to the actual buyers, or they're going to keep it just between the marketplace and the government. I don't know. The actual act says that they have to provide information as well to buyers. So I'm not sure what information is going to be required to be out there. And I'm fine. I'm doing things on the up and up. Most of you guys are doing things on the up and up, but still, I don't think we want our phone numbers and little bits of information out there for every single person, whether they're a buyer or not. So that is kind of the thing that kind of concerns me. I'm fine. I'm all well and good with protecting buyers. I'm a buyer. It protects me. And there's always bad actors out there that are, they've been doing it on eBay for a long time. You go out there and sell a bunch of things and then you collect the money and then you run. They've locked that down. It's become a lot better now. Etsy's locked that down. They hold your funds for that reason. So you can't make a bunch of sales, get the money and then run, close down your shop. So it protects buyers from that. And I'm all well and good with that. I guess maybe my biggest concern is the fact that there's big box stores that were pushing this act to really kind of put pressure on third-party sellers. Because if you're a big box store like Dell, I think was behind this act. Obviously, their information is Dell. That's their providing their corporate headquarters. They're not having to provide their employees information, but there's thousands and thousands of people on eBay and wherever that sell Dell products, refurbished products, products that they got on at yard sales, and they're going to resell them. Now, all those people have to provide their individual details, which is a lot harder to do, and it just creates a lot more of a workload for the marketplaces that are facilitating them to be able to sell these stuffs. So it just, I just think there's ulterior motives as to why big box stores were pushing this act, and I guess that is my real problem with it. So that's my 2 cents on it. I don't think it's going to be a huge deal. We'll see what comes of it. I mean, they always usually iron these things out. I think it's one of those things that I think these companies are banding together, these marketplaces that allow third-party sellers such as Poshmark, such as eBay, such as Etsy, such as Amazon, these are pretty huge companies that have a lot of power. They have a lot of resources to be able to iron this act out and make it, I think, more fair and make it where it makes sense for us as third-party sellers. So hopefully that is the case. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Don't fret about it. Focus and control. Focus on what you can control is what I always say. Because it's just not going to do any good. We can't control it. We're going to see what happens. We're going to deal with it. We're going to work together to figure our way out of it. But that is all I got for today's seller news episode. Hopefully that is enough. I'm worn out. I'm exhausted. Just bringing this stuff to you. I mean, that's it. That's all I got for Friday. So hopefully you guys have a good Friday. I'll be back soon with another good episode for you guys. If you guys like these episodes, if you like the show, give me a like, comment, share, review, wherever you're listening to it on the podcast, on the YouTube channel. I appreciate you guys listening. I appreciate your support. I appreciate your feedback. It helps me bring more relevant stuff to you guys to help you and your business continually grow. That's what I want for you guys. But that is it for today. Have an amazing weekend. I'll be back soon with some more good stuff for you.